And here we go. Hey you, ladies and germs, on this episode of Starcast, I'm here with a special guest, the most famous gearhead / theory crafter in the galaxy, the go-to guy for creating the fastest, most dangerous ships in the galaxy. Give it up for Commander Minikill. What up, good sir? How are you?
Greetings, Commander Mini here. How can I help you today, sir?
Well, first of all, man, thanks for inviting me on board this big old angry ship, man. Does it have a name?
The Imperial Annihilator, yes, sir.
The Imperial Annihilator. Okay. It's a bad boy, big Corvette here.
This is the product of several years of development for playing the game, gaining experience, and then figuring out what buttons to tweak and what numbers to twist in the ways that I desire to get the effects that I want and the performance that I desire into one tightly packed, deadly package of death.
That's a lot. Now, is it all just guns and no roses, or is there a jacuzzi and mini bar hiding somewhere in the back?
I don't know. We'll have to find out once we finally get space legs.
You know, I think out of all the ships with bridges, this is probably the closest one to using the space well. I mean, there's some open space here, but it doesn't look like a hotel bar room where nobody showed up to the party.
Here's the thing. There's no bars in the way of the command deck. And that's my favorite thing. All right, are you ready to leave the station in style, sir?
Where were we headed today?
We're gonna go blow up some ships, but we can't leave without having the police lights on. Check out that roll speed.
Oh man, you a daredevil, man. Oh man, I would have never attempted that. Nailed it.
Pass in between a few ships and we'll get out of here. So we're gonna go 2 jumps to one of my group of friends' favorite hunting grounds, which is Timbledaris. It's about 22 light years away from Shinrarta Desert. It's got a Haz-Res, docking stations and stuff like that. Everything you could possibly need. And actually it has a medium starport right next to the Haz-Res for medium-sized ships to dock and restock at. So for live streams, it's great for combat.
Okay.
It's not too hot and it's not too far from home base, which is nice.
This is crazy, man. I've never seen it in white like you got it. Or is that like a silver gray?
Nah, man,
grayish?
it is pure Star Wars Imperial white.
That's exactly what it looks like.
I forgot, I don't have a fuel scoop on this ship. It's fine.
How many jumps do we got to go?
One more jump. We're almost there.
Oh, okay. You can't get too many in this with no fuel scoop.
With the modifications I have on it, she still has around 100 light year range.
Light year range is some change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yo, man, so everybody I talked to in Elite has been here for years, like 2-3 years plus, just OG backers of the game. How long you been in the game?
Ooh, shoot, I'd have to go back on my channel and check my first video that I uploaded for Elite Dangerous when I first started in a Sidewinder. I'd say it's at least 2, maybe 3 years, if not more.
3 years. What got you into the game?
My buddy Old Gaming Geezer, aka Connor, we used to play a lot of Kerbal Space Program and stuff together, and I saw him uploading videos about it, and I was like, oh, that game looks cool. So I watched him play it for, a couple months, and then he asked me if I wanted to do a series together with him where we played together, and I was like, yeah, sure. So before I actually got in and we started recording anything, I went through every single flight training thing, all the combat stuff, all before I even started recording, so I had a good idea-ish of what to do. But yeah, I was just as a noob as anyone else was, because those don't teach you, multi-plot routing and not to choose efficient, to go fastest route, and module priorities, and exactly what guns do, because there was no outfitting training or anything. It was just how to fly, how to move forward and backwards, up, down, how to request docking, and how to jump from system to system, and a little bit of combat, and that was it. So,
yeah, it's crazy how little instruction that they give you in this game.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I come from a number of other games. Like, for instance, I used to play EVE Online for a number of years, and if you think the learning curve is bad on this game, you've never played EVE.
I played it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, I can't fly my ship, so I'm out of here.
That game is basically like, hi, I'm new to the game, can you help me? And they're like, no, come back when you've trained your skills for about 2 years, then we'll talk. Because like in Eve, there's legitimate skill training time that takes real world time for the skills to train, and that increases your stats. You can legit not play Eve, but still make progress in the game. That's just the kind of game it is. The game's still going. But I mean, that's the kind of community I went from, and then to get into this one where, you know, people are still relatively helpful, was like different. But I also come from playing Warframe, which is one of the other big games where, you know, on there, I really like the number crunching aspect of it. Where like if you do this a certain way and this a certain way, it does this and this and this with this combination that bends this and makes this super powerful, and if you do this with this, then it creates this crazy effect. So my standpoint that when I heard that engineering was going to be a thing and how that was going to basically change the way that modules perform and combine with each other, I was like, oh, I can abuse this a lot. So that's how I got into engineering, because I knew of the possibilities of having equipment modified to those ridiculous values.
Okay, so that's what moves you, because you become the go-to guy for Elite fans and for us YouTube creators who want to build the most ridiculously overpowered collection of weapons mounted to a hole,
yeah,
or the fastest ships in the galaxy.
That was a fun build.
With a thruster.
That was a
and
fun
canopy.
build. Yeah. Hey, you see the thermal levels on the ship right now?
Yeah. What is going on?
I'm not popping heat sinks, by the way. This is just what my beam lasers do.
Oh, you got thermal vent on.
Thermal vent, dual class 4 efficient thermal vent beam lasers. I didn't kill that guy with anything except beam lasers, by the way. Hey, Conda, sweet.
That was a quick death.
So I recently spent some time completely re-engineering the ship from the ground up, from old legacy modules, because I had taken a break because of the job that I had. Ooh, that was close pass. And I didn't have a lot of time to invest into the game. So over the last 2 weeks, I've gotten back into basically making the objective of re-engineering all my fleet from legacy modules up to the new level. And this Anaconda's gonna melt faster than an ice cube in summer. Dead.
Putting it down. Yo, man, how'd you get them police lights? What's going on with that?
So this is a macro. There is a keybind in the controls to activate or deactivate your chosen cosmetic color for your engines. So I bound that to a key, and I've got a mouse that basically cycles it every 50 milliseconds. And
wow, okay.
And that enables me to just cycle my lights. It's not that hard to set up. You can also do it with weapon colors as well. So
you made this macro yourself?
Yeah, it's just a toggle. Here, I'll toggle the weapon to change as well.
Yeah, you got a light show going on here.
And then I've got another macro that cycles it every 1 millisecond. It's 1,000 times a second. And I call that my lag bomb. You want to see that one?
Like to see the lag bomb, my friend.
All right, here's the lag bomb. Prepare for an FPS drop. I apologize ahead of time. You might want to look at the ship from an external view.
Go for it.
Is your FPS dropping yet? Because it should be.
No. At least I don't think. Not that I can tell.
Yeah, unfortunately this lag bomb is so powerful that like my menus are now stuck. There we go.
I'm about to put a seizure warning on this video. So you and Mars did that video maybe about a month ago now, where you claimed that you made the fastest ship in the game. Is that true? Did you guys do your Googles and research to see what the previous records was and then go out and beat it? Or?
Let's put it this way. There is only a theoretical maximum that any ship can reach to the fastest speed in the game, and a lot of that depends on the hull mass of the ship and the maximum output of the thrusters and the minimum mass required that those thrusters can move. So basically, those thrusters had a minimum mass of 61 tons. Once you go below that, those thrusters cannot move that ship any faster. So basically it was just the highest performance thrusters in the game, which is those class 3A performance thrusters that you get from the engineers. And then finding more targets again. And then basically taking that and trying to get the ship's minimum mass to match that minimum mass of the thruster, and then engineering it to that level. And it's as simple as that. It just came down to what made it to where the ship was still functional, being able to boost, as well as having the ability to survive a few collisions after the fact. Because when you're going 744 meters a second without boosting, you better be very sure of what direction you're going.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You ever try to bait somebody into a race with it?
Well, after we built it, Mars actually went out and had some commanders chasing him down in Shinrarta, and they tried catching him, but because his max speed without boosting was faster than their standard speed, he was outrunning like all their projectiles and everything as well. So he would bait people into interdicting him, and they'd get him into normal space, and then he would just boost away and disappear. And they'd be like, "What do you have on that ship?" And he's like, "You'll see soon." So he had a lot of fun with it.
Like that. You should have been out there like, "Hey, 50 million in gold says my Viper can beat anything in your hold, anything in your garage, man."
Well, the funny thing is we actually did a birthday stream where I invited everyone out to come kill me. I died a lot.
Did you do the birthday stream in your birthday suit?
No, but it was on May 4th, so it was Star Wars themed.
Oh, May the 4th be with you. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Best birthday ever, man.
I know they got that buckyball race thing that cracks here and there, but are there any straight drag races that are organized by the community?
Not that I know of. Oh, barely missed him. Come on.
That's too bad. I'd love to see people come bring out whatever they got, give you a little race.
I'd like to have like a racetrack, something or other in Elite. I mean, the closest you can get to that is like maybe flying around in CQC or set up some kind of race course or something, but that doesn't exist. But having a racetrack in Elite would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely, man. So are you just a dope combat pilot, or do you just mostly design them and unleash them on the galaxy?
I enjoy crunching numbers, but I also like playing with my toys that I build. So for me, it's always been about building weapons that at one point are effective, and two, just fun to use.
I mean, because this is a Corvette, it's going to beast anything, especially with the outfitting that you put on. But what about the medium ships and the smaller ships? Can you hold your own in those, or what?
No, yeah. Some of my favorite ships are my Fertilance with frag cannons, my Federal gunship with nothing but multi-cannons, or inertial impact efficient burst lasers, or a new build that I'm going to be throwing on it that I need to do a video for, but I won't say what it is. But I've got a lot of other stuff I got to get to before I actually start recording and editing that.
Okay.
Because I do have some more engineering to do on that, because a lot of those mods are legacy. So I need to get the gunship up to beyond engineering levels next. But
gotcha.
It's on the to-do list. But I really enjoy my gunship. Some people really don't like the gunship. I really do. It's one of my favorite ships. I mean, you got 7 guns and a ship-launched fighter, and it's hella tanky with its armor, plus with the bi-weaves on it. It's, it's pretty survivable. The shields come back fast enough to where it's tolerable. Once you know how to fly that ship, you can swing it around, get it on target well enough to be able to hunt down your targets and blast them out of the sky.
Yo, man, going back to the early days of Elite, what's the difference in engineering from when it first became a thing to now?
Oh my god. Okay, so look at it this way. As of this moment, I have almost 9,000 grade 5 rolls under my belt. And a lot of that is because the old engineering system was basically pulling a slot machine lever. Like, you never knew what you were going to get. Sometimes you'd get something good, sometimes you'd get something actually worse than you engineered previously. And that was the worst part of the previous engineering stuff. Yes, in some rare instances, some of the modifications that you can get on the older legacy modules that they're referred to are better than some of the current engineering totals that you can get. However, those are few and far between, and very few people have those. But the amount of effort it took sometimes to even attempt to get some of those, like, what they were called back in the day as god tier rolls is so small of a chance to get those that for me 95% of my engineerable modules right now are going to be improved by the new system. Now, granted, before I do engineer something, I do check the totals of what I have, versus the potential improvement that I will be getting. But, for the most part, all the new stuff is going to be better than what I had before. Like, for instance, the Annihilator, its turn rate, its roll rate, its shield capacity, its power distributor, its heat management were all improved when I engineered it. And I did this last week. So this is a relatively fresh upgrade that I've done onto this ship. And this is actually believe it or not, the second time I've actually flown it in combat after upgrading it to the new level. But compared to old engineering, I'll take the new engineering any day, because after you're done engineering, it's done. Like, there's nothing else you can do to improve that module unless you want to swap out, let's say, like an experimental effect. And that's it. Like, being able to hot swap an experimental effect without exchanging your current rank with that particular engineer is a godsend. Because you don't have to be like, okay, I want to apply X experimental. Here's what I want. Here's 3 of my ranks with X engineer, and then after I do that engineering, I have to do 3 grade 3 rolls, 3 grade 4 rolls, and then 3 grade 5 rolls to get that engineer back up to rank 5, and then I have to do another engineering roll again, and maybe get a good total with the grade 5 roll. And then I choose my experimental effect, and then rinse, wash, repeat from grade 3 to grade 4 to grade 5 all over again. The new system where you take a fresh module and then you grow grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then after you're done with grade 5, you're done, and then you apply any experimental effect you want with just an increased cost of a different variance of materials for that is far less expensive compared to the old system. Because, for instance, to get my shield cell, or my shield cells, or my shield boosters for the ship in particular, to the level that I had them previously, for a video I did 500 grade 5 rolls in one video, and I didn't even get all the totals I wanted.
Like, a lot of the older commanders can nerd out with you on this stuff, but what does that mean for the new commander that's watching this? So
for a new commander watching this, that basically means, and this is before experimental effects were applicable to shield cell or to shield boosters. That means that I basically went and gathered 1,500 materials for 500 rolls for one video, all in like one sitting. So overall, that video production-wise was anywhere from 20 to 30 hours of in-game playtime just to make that video, not to mention the recording and the editing and everything that went into it as well. Just for that one project with results that I wasn't entirely happy with. That's how old engineering was.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. I mean, I'm nowhere near having to do all the stuff that you have to do, but man, the time it took to get all the materials just for the next upcoming video, oh my goodness, man.
Well, let's look at it this way.
It's a grind.
This ship, I mean, I did, of course, like 4 streams last week. And this, of course, I did have some materials before from previous material gathering. But the amount of time it would have taken me with the old system to engineer this ship up to where it was, I would say would be easily in excess of over 100 hours of gameplay time to get totals that were at least 60% of this current ship's performance in value in engineer roles. Whereas I spent maybe overall over the period of 4 days, and including the time flying around doing engineering and all that stuff to get this ship done, maybe 20 hours. So like a fifth of the time, and compared to old engineering versus new engineering, a 30% stat increase in performance. That's an insane just savings in time. Granted, I mean, I'm taking almost every single module on this ship and engineering it from the ground up. Completely changing the overall build design and stuff because of the experimental values and stuff that are available with the new stuff. So it's not just engineering the core module, it's also getting the materials to apply the experimental effects as well. So there's a lot of work that goes into building and designing a ship to basically the nth degree, like I do, because it comes down to, well, what shield resistances do I want? How much shields do I want? How much armor do I want? Do I want module reinforcements? Do I want a fuel scoop? Do I not want a fuel scoop? Do I want the ability
you need to write a paper about this, man.
Well, a lot of this stuff.
Paper, man.
Look at it this way: a lot of this stuff just comes from experience in doing all the old engineering, and the old engineering, you never knew what you were going to get. So, like, you would engineer a core module, like let's say a power plant. I mean, that's what you start with. You get your power plant done. And then you have like an idea of what modules will fit after you do that. Or you get a power plant done, and like with Coriolis, you'll get like an idea of what your roles and power consumption and your mass and stuff will be. So you never really knew what you were going to get, but you would have a plan of what to get. But you would never know.
Speaking of Coriolis, I was watching a video of you going through whatever ship you were working on. You had ED Engineer up, which you have connected to Coriolis, which is your ship builder.
Yeah.
How many third-party tools and apps do you use for Elite Dangerous?
Well, normally for Elite Dangerous, there's the big four. There's ED Engineer, which I use to track all of my material, my materials that I'm gathering live. So as soon as I gather a material, ED Engineer updates instantly. So that's really useful because within ED Engineer, you can actually make shopping lists for, like, I can make a shopping list for every single module that I need on a ship to engineer. So that means I can go through all my modules, see which ones are old legacy modules, and then be able to say, okay, here's the engineer thing that I need to do on this ship. Because when you take a module from legacy and you update it to the new system, it downgrades it to a maximum grade 4. So that means that even though I had previously gotten it to grade 5 and it might have an experimental effect on it, as soon as I upgrade it to the new engineering, it changes from a grade 5 with an experimental to a grade 4 with no experimental.
You're really passionate about these numbers, man. I used to be a little annoyed at all the outside resources that you gotta have to be successful in Elite. Like, yo, do I really gotta leave the game every time I want to find some painite, or when I need to find a station that carries a specific commodity? But it started to kind of grow on me, and I don't think the game could really contain all the resources that we need without getting too bogged down with 1,000 menus.
Well, another thing is,
are there any resources that you think that they should add in to make life a little easier?
Honestly, I'm completely fine with using third-party tools. The more stuff you have cluttered in game, look at this way. I've got multiple monitors, right? So with that, I can have a third-party tool open on the right screen with like ED Engineer or a list of system names that I'm using to search for certain materials that pop up in like high-grade emissions and stuff like that. So I'll have that open as I'm searching, and then I can just copy-paste from there and throw it into the game. Well, there's no copy-paste function in the game, so that doesn't work. And if you want to use a menu, you're completely unable to fly your ship at the same time, so that's not going to work. So having a third-party tool enables me to multitask to an extreme degree, where I'm able to track what system I'm going to, what materials I have, what I'm currently tracking, instead of actually using something in-game by going to the right panel and opening that and not being able to fly my ship as I'm completing the objective that I'm going towards. If I'm using a third-party tool, I can instantly look over at the side screen, know what I have, know how I'm doing, how many more I need, all that stuff, just with a glance, where I can't use that in-game because it would take me out of actually flying the ship or completing my current objective. So it just doesn't work that way. So a lot of the third-party tools are actually better because they are third-party tools and not in the game.
Yeah, I could dig that. Hey man, so no spoilers on the ship, but last night I was putting together that build that you put together for me, and I had to finish unlocking what's her name?
Well, I've posted
Hari Krishna, no, Haritani.
Haritani,
and
yeah.
I'm running back and forth, carrying her Kamitri cigars and my Crate Phantom. Barely any shields, weak thrusters that took like 10 seconds to recharge.
A to B, that's all you need.
Kept getting interdicted.
Oh yeah, man. Because it's
made it to her base with like 25% hold, which is a little annoying and kind of scary while it was happening. But it made completing the task a lot more rewarding. And it's nice to have the fully kitted out ship, a bully with a fully. But when you escape the odds to complete your mission by the skin of your teeth, it's a lot more memorable. I was going to ask, what are the great moments in Elite Dangerous for you?
One of my favorite moments in Elite Dangerous has got to be back when Rubigo mines smuggling missions were a thing. So I had done several videos about this in the past, and this is back when like making 30 to 50 million an hour was a big thing, because that was like insane cash back in the day. And now, you can make 1 billion credits in a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, back in the day, so it was these Rubigo smuggling missions, and you'd be able to stack 20 of these missions at a time. So you get these missions, and you'd get it basically came down to the numbers doing these. So it basically came down to, okay, you pick a mission that has a relatively low cargo amount or a high amount of cargo with an equivalent reward. So basically the reward goes like this. If you've got 500,000 credits per ton or more, you take the mission. It doesn't matter how far it is, because all the missions were like 300 light year trips for these smuggling missions. So you would get 20 of these missions, and then you'd have a giant cluster of systems that you'd have to go deliver all of these missions to. If you're lucky, you'd have multiple in one station. The thing is, if you take 20 of these smuggling missions, you would have multiple NPCs. You would have cops coming after you, you'd have pirates coming after you. So the entire way to the destination, you're getting stopped, interdicted, chased, shot at, and you'd have sometimes 2 to 3 NPCs on you at the same time. So it was this fight for trying to survive a gauntlet of very angry NPCs trying to interdict you and kill you or scan you. Now, if an NPC scanned you, guess what? You fail all 20 of your missions instantly. So
Which is always great.
It was like do or die. Now, one of my favorites that I did was the actual last time that I did a smuggling missions, and I must have had like 10 to 15 interdictions in one session. Like, I had never had that many in one session before. And it was ridiculous. And I did this on a live stream, and people were like, whoa, because I dodged almost every single interdiction. I got away from every single cop. I used one of my tried and true methods of actually getting away from the NPC by hugging the main sequence star and then pointing my butt at it while I'm literally on the terminus line about to drop into the star. And because they can't interdict you unless you're behind you, they try to get behind you and they drop into the star and basically burn themselves up, and that would get an NPC off your tail. So that was basically called hot dropping, to drop an NPC into the star to get them off your tail. And that strategy,
like it's hot.
Yeah, and that strategy still works to this day. So stuff like that I learned is useful to this day. That I wish that was still in the game, because like combat is still fun. I love doing combat because there's just something about blowing up ships. It's just great. But those smuggling missions could go from extremely boring to absolute terror in milliseconds. And that was the best part about it, because it was extremely high risk versus reward. Because it was like, okay, I've got 40 to 50 million credits worth of cargo in my ship that I am transmitting from A to B. I'm in a ship that has very limited guns, good jump range, and almost no defenses. It's built for speed, it's built for range, and maybe I can kill a pirate or two if I'm careful. But that is it. If I come against something that's bigger than me, I have to run. There is no fighting unless I want to pull a stupid maneuver. And if they scan you while you're fighting, well, guess what? You just, killed your reward of 50 million credits for like a 30,000 credit bounty. And it's like, it's not worth it. So it's either run, kill, or die.
Yeah, that risk reward thing it made the game dope for me, but it's kind of gone now. What do you think about the void opal economy?
Well, I do double painite mining now. That gets me insane amount of credits. We actually went scouring for a new commander earlier this week, and I found one on Tuesday, and we went mining and we streamed it, and we got him from 58 million that morning to 600 million in 3 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty useful. It's good for us, especially as content creators. Like, I had to make a quick 300 million last night to finish outfitting my next ship. But I think that if new players can go from Sidewinder to Cutter in 2 weeks, then the game just doesn't have the same legs that it used to have. And you'll see a lot of bored commanders, I think.
Well, here's the thing. From my point of view, we gave him a jump start. And this particular individual has more difficulty than other people playing the game, I would say. I'm not going to go into details, but actually flying his ships can sometimes be challenging. So giving him a boost like that, now he's all excited because he gets to not worry about so much about his finances and more worry about like exploring the game. He was off playing with SRVs and stuff today. He was having an absolute blast. So basically helping out a new commander and basically giving them the ability to just enjoy the game rather than worrying about working the game like a job. Basically, playing the game without the grind was really nice to see, and like we were all like just got all that little happy feeling because he was just having such a good time and so giddy and joyful for being able to just enjoy the game. We're like, man, it makes you just think, I wish I could go back and unlearn everything that I know now to play the game from the very start, just to have that feeling of nostalgia again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to say that about Chrono Trigger.
Basically, having someone go through that experience, like just vicariously through them, just brought back a lot of satisfaction to a lot of us that played with him. We were like, man, this is great. Like after he jumped off, we had like a good half-hour discussion on how much fun it was just to help someone out like that, and how excited they are, and just how good it feels to help someone out.
Yo, I'm looking at your shields. Are these prismatics?
Yeah, prismatics. We're rocking about 7,200 megajoules.
Okay, that's an interesting little effect with the green just going across your canopy.
I'm popping shield cells. I actually don't need heat sinks on this build because I have thermal vent beams. So if you watch the heat level right now, see how it's climbing? And then here comes the shield cell. Thermal level drops. I don't even need heat sinks anymore because of the thermal vent beams.
Yo, man, what are you looking forward to, or what are you hoping for on the big 2020 update?
Honestly, I'm not going to keep my hopes too far up because there's no telling what it's actually going to be. I mean, I've got my hopes. I've got what I would like to see in the game. I mean, we've got fleet carriers coming, of course. There's no telling what that's actually going to have. If you're going to be able to fly it yourself, or if it's going to be, squadron specific. There's no telling how much it's going to cost, what it's going to take to move the ship around, so on and so forth. But for me personally, what I would like to see is the ability to have modular, engineerable ship launch fighters.
Modular engineer, okay. Modular how?
Being able to fit your own modules onto it and engineer those modules to increase the performance, durability, damage output, and survivability of those ships to where they can do more damage and last longer. Because right now, I mean, fighters are good for two things. Giving someone in your ship something fun to fly if they don't have a big ship, and they can come hang out and blow stuff up with you.
Yeah.
And another thing is basically as an aggro magnet. So like, let's take this Crate Phantom here, for example. I'm going to send my fighter in as a distraction. So all those NPCs get mad at him. There's 3 in a wing. He's going to pop pretty quick. But what that also does for me is that enables me to get a lock on this guy without him being able to use all of his guns that are ready right now on me all at one time. And since my fighter has basically pissed him off longer, he's going to stay angry at that fighter instead of me. So that enables me to attack with pretty much impunity because he's still angry at my fighter.
Yeah, diversion.
So I can just lock onto this guy and pound on him all day, and he doesn't know what's going on, and by the time he does, he's dead.
And boom goes the dynamite.
So, yeah, fighters are basically very useful for that.
Yeah, they're good distractions.
Oh yeah, they're great distractions, but using multi-cannon fighters is, believe it or not, the best ship launch fighter in the game.
Is that right?
Because once the shields drop, they do 40 DPS versus hull, and they're fixed. So with an elite pilot, they will nail a target time after time with little to no difficulty.
Only bad thing is they still have limited ammo.
They actually don't. It's unlimited ammo for the multi-cannons.
Are you sure about that? Because I remember I had one, and we were in the Hazares for a while, and like he wasn't doing anything, so I went back to his ship, and you know what? Maybe that was engine problems.
Sometimes the fire grids can get turned off. For some reason, it's a random glitch that does occur with pilots. And I have seen that from time to time, but that's not running out of ammo. That's just the fighter pilot AI getting dumb for some reason. You jump into the fighter, you reset the fire groups, and it fixes it.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I ask other creators if they use keyboard, mouse, gamepad, controllers, all that. But you seem like a twitchy finger guy, and I see Holders is probably just getting in the way of that. So I'm gonna go out and say you're probably a KBM guy. Am I right, or am I just completely right?
That is completely incorrect. I'm actually using a Logitech Extreme 3D Pro $30 piece of shit joystick, but it works for me. I've used the same joystick for the last 3 years.
Oh, okay.
I actually used this exact same joystick back when I played Kerbal Space Program.
I noticed a lot of elite creators, they use like older or really simple holders. I've never seen. I'm sure there are like Exegius. I'm sure he got a ton of holders, but a lot of us just use old school holders. I use the X52 Pro, which is pretty old, but I think it's one of the best ones. But you don't see a lot of us going out spending tons of cash on the holders.
Well, here's the thing. I don't really need anything more advanced than this because I'm happy with it. It does the job I need, and that's all I need.
Yeah, there you go.
So it gets the job done, and that's good enough for me. It's not like I don't treat my game peripherals like I do my ships and their engineering. It doesn't have to be the best of the best. If it does the job, I'm good.
The best of the best with honors.
Yeah, exactly. But for my ships, they need to be, fine-tuned to the 9th degree because, well, if the ship performs better, it's more fun to fly for me.
Yeah, I could dig that.
Like
every time I see you online, you're on Satisfactory or Elite Dangerous or Oxygen Not Included. Always a different game, man. Which games have the bulk of your attention, Minnie?
Do you want me to check Steam?
Yo, man, do what you gotta do, man. I don't know. You probably know where you spend the most of your time at.
Well, it's a toss-up right now because some games I've played for a long time. So that definitely has something to do with the amount of hours that I've invested. So I would say that probably my top 4 games that I've probably spent the most time on, hour-wise. Elite Dangerous, I've got 3,189 hours in. Warframe, I've got 2,579 hours. Oxygen Not Included, I've got 1,153 hours. Space Engineers, I've got 988 hours. Surviving Mars, I've got 409 hours. In Kerbal Space Program, I probably have like 2,000 to 3,000 hours on, but I had KSP before it came onto Steam, so yeah.
What's KSP? Oh, Kerbal Space Program.
Kerbal Space Program, yeah.
Okay. Which ones do you cover on your YouTube channel?
My first series that I covered was Kerbal Space Program. I've done a few live streams for Surviving Mars, a few live streams for Oxygen Not Included and Surviving Mars, and a little bit of Warframe. But most of my subscriber base is based around Elite Dangerous, so I focus mostly on that because I've done test streams where I play other games, and not too many people are interested in it, so I try to keep my streams and content aligned with, what most of my subscriber base is, because, that makes sense. Branching out's good, you might get some more subscribers that way, but sometimes experimenting with a new game or a new platform can actually be detrimental to your channel. Because if you start posting stuff that people aren't interested in repeatedly, then they lose interest overall. And I don't want to do that to my subscribers because my subscribers join for, either the number crunching or just, the sheer ridiculous hilarity that we get up to, or the stupid builds, or the banter, or, the personality. I don't know. People subscribe for different reasons.
Okay. What's not out that you're interested in checking out once it's released?
I don't know if there's going to be a lot of interest in it. I'm interested in it personally, but I would like to play some Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Yeah, that looks interesting. I'm kind of upset or disappointed that it's single player, but...
Oh, no, I'm fine with that, because I'm a big Freelancer fan. I played Freelancer, Wing Commander back in the day, so, single-player, story-driven games are some of my favorites. Like Mass Effect, for example, back when BioWare wasn't a piece of shit owned by EA.
Hey, man, I don't care what anybody says. Andromeda was dope.
I haven't played Andromeda, so no spoilers. I'll get to it eventually, but for the time being, I'm putting a weight on that. I will play it, just not yet. It's just that Mass Effect, to me... along with Knights of the Old Republic, and a lot of other games from BioWare, like Jade Empire and stuff like that, were all great because they were story-driven.
Jade Empire.
Yeah, man, back in the day.
Yeah, that was hot.
I played that back when it was on the Xbox originally,
me too.
The original Xbox,
the OG,
not the Xbox One, the giant black brick of death
The one that came originally with the biggest controller you could ever find.
The Xbox that weighs almost as much as the ship. Let's put it that way. Back on that, like the original Xbox. But yeah, played Jade Empire back on that, and that game was the one that originally really got me into games by BioWare. That and Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, those are hot back in the day.
KOTOR, man. Gotta love that KOTOR. And KOTOR was great because it was all storyline, it was interpersonal dynamics. You could say it was a Japanese dating sim game for US nerds, with Star Wars. If you think of it that way. But, Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic, those are definitely some of my favorite games. Out of my group of friends, I'm one of the few people that can say that they have a 100% completion of every single Mass Effect game, with every single save game tying into the next, with every possible...
Andromeda.
Without Andromeda, because Andromeda isn't in the same universe.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
I'm telling you it is. There's... Yeah, because
here's the thing.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's stuff from...
If they were able to make colony ships that were that big, okay...
When you play it, you'll find out, man.
Hang on. If they were able to make colony ships that big before the Reapers arrived, when the United Earth Council did not even see the point of trying to reinforce the Sol system, because by the beginning of the third movie, they didn't even believe in the Reapers. They thought it was some, leftover, Geth ship from Saren. Yeah. And then you go to tell me that, okay, there was a big enough group of private corporations that got together because they believed Commander Shepard and all the destruction that was caused was actually because of the Reapers.
Hey, man, I could tell you, I could say some more, but it'd be spoiling it. You just have to play it.
I don't know. I would have to have quite a large suspension of disbelief to...
Not really. It's just good writing, man.
You say that, but... I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try eventually, but...
Definitely worth it, man.
I don't know. I heard some people say they really like it, but the thing is, I hear one thing from one person and one thing from another, and then I ask one of my friends that I trust, and they're like, it's okay, but... Like, the storyline that was there and the chemistry between the characters that was there in, original BioWare games is lacking. And that's my biggest quip. I mean, yeah, the gameplay might be good, the combat mechanics might be better, but for me, if a game doesn't have story and its mechanics are good, that's one thing. But if you try to mix both and you do one really good and it's really bad on the other, I'm not interested. Like, if you say that it's a BioWare game, I know BioWare games are supposed to be story-driven, and if the story sucks... I'm like, nope, this game sucks. Well, no, but the game combat in this and this and this is so good. And I was like, why did I play BioWare games originally? The story and the drama that happens in between people and the relationship and the choices that you make, how that, changes the world around you. And if there's not really that doesn't affect anything, you've completely lost my interest, because that's why I play BioWare games.
Well, I see that's not why you play Elite Dangerous games.
I play Elite because it's got big guns and big numbers.
Big guns, big numbers, big asteroids.
And I play Warframe because it's got storyline and big guns and stuff. But Warframe's one of those oddballs to where it has the right mix of story as well as all that delicious number crunching.
Yo, man, you gonna check out Star Citizen?
Not until it's actually at the point where I can play and my actions are permanent in the universe. And if they get to a point where they have to roll it back because something fucked up, I'm out until they fix it. So,
okay, so you're just waiting.
I think, from what I've heard, anywhere between 2 to 4 more updates, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But at this point...
No, it'll be more than that. They update every 3 months.
Yeah, at this point, I'm waiting. I'm not holding my breath. Because just because that game has space legs, the amount of instabilities that it has, not going to deal with it.
Okay.
I will take a look. But in its current state, not going to happen.
I love it, man. You should check out my Star Citizen for Elite Dangerous Commanders video.
I'm not saying that the game sucks. I'm just saying I'm not ready to play it right now, because for me, it would be an exercise in futility, because if there's no persistence, there's no point. It's like, have you ever played a roguelike game where you start the game and you go until you die and then you reset?
Nah, that's not something I would even play.
So you haven't played anything like, oh God, what's that really, really, really good one that I like? It's on the tip of my tongue. Good God, do I have to check my Steam library? I think I have to check my Steam library. What is it? Because I've got 2 games like that, actually. Come on, brain. One is Everspace, and the other one is FTL.
Okay, I haven't checked those out.
Basically, every time you start the game, you start from the beginning, and you do unlock, different ships and equipment and stuff over time, and you basically play the game from the beginning, but the game changes a little bit each time because, it's got RNG and stuff built into it. But basically, if you're telling me you've got a game that people have invested almost $200 million into, and it's basically just a glorified tech demo that every time I get to play, they're going to reset the server after a period of time, it's like, nah, not interested.
Gotcha.
I mean, if you look at that with that context, it's like, well, I guess I see your point.
No, I see you have a point, but I don't share it.
If I play a game, I want to make progress.
We're in the alpha.
All right?
So that's absolutely not going to be a thing until we're in the at least beta, if not release.
Yeah. I want that sense of progress when I play a game. Like, okay, I did something last time and I came back, and if I'm not paying attention to, like the forums or, the update threads or the emails or anything like that, and I come back and, I worked for, a day or two to, be able to afford a new ship, and I come back and I'm in the same ship with the exact same equipment when I started, I'm like, what the hell happened? Because I didn't pay attention? That's just going to piss me off.
Hey, hit me with 2 of your top movies.
Top movies? Ooh.
Yeah. give me 2 of them.
Okay, 2 of my top favorite movies. The Rocketeer and Galaxy Quest.
Wow, The Rocketeer. I haven't seen that since I was such a wee lad. And Galaxy Quest, I just watched that not too long ago. That's a good flick. It's a funny flick.
I love that movie. One of my friends, his mining ship is named the NSCA Protector 2. And I'm like, that is amazing. I love that. Wow, that gunship that dropship did not last long. Normally they have a good amount of armor, and that guy was an expert rank. He just melted in 4 seconds.
All right, man. You need to run me by Jameson Memorial so you can take a look at my new ship, how it's progressing, and yell at the mechanics that are outfitting her. Before we go, let everybody know what you got coming up and when to look out for you.
I am working on a new video. It is in production. It's with a ship that some of you may be familiar with. And the video is like 80% done, but I'm waiting on some voice acting from another content creator. And when that comes out, I think a lot of you will be impressed, surprised, and then possibly some of you might be a little bit pissed off.
Well, there it is. We headed back to Jameson so he can check out my ship. My name is DigThat, and you are...
This is Commander Mini, signing out.